Hey everybody, I'm Angie Goff, and this is the Oh My Goff Show. For nearly 2 decades, I've covered big stories and big names, whether it was reporting from the royal wedding, the Super Bowl, or sitting down with the First Lady. There's one thing I know for sure. Behind every headline is a human story, one filled with ups, downs, laughter, and life lessons. Each episode will tap into some pretty incredible minds, people who've found true success in chasing their dream or changing the world. It's the story behind the story that I hope will inspire your own. This is the Oh My Goff Show with Angie Goff.
I think it should be a part of everyday life for every single person. If you don't laugh and you take things too seriously, then you're really not going to have a very healthy life.
Are you okay?
We are talking when pranks go good. And there's no one better to talk about this than a real OG when it comes to funny skits, parodies, and that type of thing, and pranks online. You were doing this before all the kids were getting into this. A baby daddy of 5.
No, you're fine. It was me.
And a comedian, someone who loves to make other people laugh, Mr. Jack Vale. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
As a man who farted his way to the top, where did you begin with this?
Farts have always been funny in my family. This is it right here. It's a piece of, it's like a rubber cylinder.
This thing is called the pooter.
YouTube had just started. I mean, it was like a year later. It was 2006, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just decided that'd probably be a good way if I wanted to reinvent this thing, that I could make videos with it on YouTube, and that would be the way that I sell it. I always say that I when I leave the house, I have my necessities: my wallet, my keys, my pooter.
I ordered mine, and my freaking dog ate.
Oh,
Look how big that hole is.
I see that.
So many different things different kinds of sounds that you can make, and it really is an art. It's amazing that something so small and so simple could lead to such huge things for you.
Back then, I had no idea that it was going to turn into like a big, full-time comedy career.
You're a psycho.
What I love about this, as a mother of 3, who also loves crude humor but likes making kids laugh, is that you've walked that fine line of being a family-friendly comedian.
Yeah, it's something that I decided to do a long time ago when I first started. And usually as edgy as I get is fart humor. And you're always going to find that 1% of families out there who just don't get it. They don't like it. But most families do. They can relate to it. And so I've always stuck to that. But I just kind of decided early on that I wanted to create content that I wouldn't be embarrassed for my kids to see. Because, I got a lot of them. I got 5, and 3 are adults, and there's 2 left in the house, 12 and 13.
It was me.
And it's worked out really, really well that way, and I just, I don't know, I think families really need to spend more, they could use more quality time together laughing. And if I can do something to encourage that, that's what I want to do, because, man, today, golly, everybody's glued to their phones, they're looking down, and when you do go online, you find garbage that you don't want your kids to see. So you're always constantly like screening through content and everything. So I wanted to be that safe space, I guess, if you will, this place that parents could kind of feel pretty good about their kids watching content and not getting, offended by something. Or
You make it look easy. It's work, right, Jack?
Yeah, no, it is. It's because it's not the shock factor or even the reaction that's really the most important thing to me. I like the comedy of the moment. And if you can make something funny just by being, a look on your face or a certain comedic pause, it's all about timing and stuff like that. So it is kind of an art. I had to learn how to do this. The first time I did it, it's kind of embarrassing. It's not like a whoopee cushion or a fart machine where you're pushing a button, blaming it on somebody else, You have to own this because it's right here and the sound is coming right out of your hand. So whenever I make those videos, it took me a little while to get used to it. I think 4 or 5 videos in, I'm finally like, yeah, I think I got this. And it's fun because, in the end, you're squeezing a toy that makes a fart noise, and who's not going to laugh at it? Everybody's going to laugh. There you go. And so when you're done, they have a story to go home to their family and talk about this weird guy that they met today at Walmart, or something. So the pooter stuff has always been, probably my favorite stuff to do because it's like a universal language. Everybody gets it. So a lot of my videos have been seen, in different countries and stuff like that too, because everybody understands it.
also, in addition to this, I don't know how you're able to do all this and still be a father of 5, but you started a podcast with one of your daughters, Madison.
It's been incredible. It's a blast because, you know, growing up today is very, very different than when I was a kid. So, you know, you have a different perspective sometimes.
The way people are. That's
I
why.
just don't understand.
And I just thought my 20-year-old daughter and this 40, almost 9-year-old guy, dad can have differences of opinions and different outlooks and stuff and still talk about it. Because life is different. Society is so different today. Everybody's offended about everything. So that's different in itself. You know, you have to be really, people are trying to be careful what they say. And is there a line to cross? Is there like, how do you ride that line? You know, how do you figure out what's appropriate and not appropriate? And you learn from your kids and your kids learn from you. That's the goal.
I want to get to a question real quick, but you said, you know, who's not going to laugh at a fart joke? I mean, I saw a video where a guy punched you in your face though. So do pranks ever go wrong? Are there any that you regret?
I kind of regret that one. It's really only happened. That's only happened once.
Hey, you know, that really isn't that much funny.
Hey. Oh!
Hey!
It doesn't really happen, but it's funny. Everybody wants to talk about that video because of what happened. And the thing about that video is I knew when I had it, I had a special video.
The TV show. Have you ever seen
So
that?
I was excited to upload it because I knew that the guy had really overreacted. But it's been really interesting watching the society, how society has kind of shifted over the last 10, 12 years. Because when I first uploaded that video, all it is, it's a fake fart noise. And this guy lost his mind and wasn't having it and got up and, you know, hit me in the middle of Target, and then the police came and all of that. So in the beginning stages, the comments were all about just saying, well, you know, I can't believe how much that guy overreacted. And then a few years ago, I started paying attention to the newer comments, and they were like, Jack's a jerk for doing this. He should leave old people alone. And I'm like, listen, I don't care what your race or your age or your background or your sex, or I don't care about any of that stuff. I'm not going to leave you alone. I don't discriminate. I mean, listen, everybody who's above laughing, we can all enjoy, right? And so my stepdad died at 94, I think. And he was the fart guy until he took his last breath, you know? So whether you're a veteran or you're handicapped in some way or whatever, you can't assume that somebody's, you know, not going to laugh at an innocent joke. So it's kind of rare that stuff like that happens, but it does happen, and that's a risk that you take, and I understand that too.
You've also said in the past there was a time where you wanted to separate yourself from this idea of being a prankster. Have you come back around to own that, just because we've seen the good and the bad of this genre?
I'm on the fence still because, you know, I've always kind of viewed what I did as bringing comedy to the public. And how do you kind of explain what that is if you don't say the word prank? Since the beginning of time, that's been what it's been, you know, pranks. So therefore, when YouTube started, you know, everybody was a prankster. If you had a prank channel, you were a prankster. And pretty soon what happened was the word prankster just became kind of a dirty word because it was something that upset people. It meant that you were doing something with a ton of, you know, either sexual content or a bunch of mean-spirited stuff or, you know, whatever. And so I don't know, you know, in a way I like comedian more, but at the same time, I almost kind of want to put the funny back in the word prank. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Remember Funniest Home Videos, Candid Camera? They were also wholesome and still got you in stitches, you know? It still has the same effect. And I like how you talk about the science of laughter and how we really should take the idea of laughter seriously. What do you exactly mean by that?
I mean that I think it should be a part of everyday life for every single person. If you don't laugh and you take things too seriously, then you're really not going to have a very healthy life. It's really true. I mean, it's not just one of these extra things that God gave us to to the ability to laugh, every once in a blue moon. We're supposed to apply it to our life. If we don't have a sense of humor, then I think you're going to live a shorter life. I mean, that's an extreme thing to say, but the truth is, humor is a really important part of who we are as human beings. Laughter helps with so many different things. I mean, I get emails and messages and stuff from people who are in the hospital with all kinds of different ailments or whatever, and it's my videos that help them, or they lost a loved one, or whatever, and that helped them to kind of get them back on track. So that's why I do what I do.
It's interesting. Ashton Kutcher came out recently, Jack. I don't know if you saw this, and he said that he would never do Punk'd again because during that time he had 0 friends. Have you found it to be the case that nobody just trusts you?
Yeah, last night I was at an ice cream shop with my family, and a real good friend of mine who is a major famous comedian and a close friend. I ran into him out of the blue, and I hadn't seen him in a couple months or something. And he was in town, and first thing he thought of was, where are the cameras? That comes with it, because people do kind of perceive you as. I bet Ashton still gets that sometimes. Yeah. For those who still watch Punk and stuff.
April, what's up, girl?
Who would you want to do a collaboration with on YouTube if you can do more pranks?
Probably somebody who I really admire their comedy. It would probably be somebody like Jack Vale, who has impeccable comedic timing. And then comedically, for somebody who is alive today as well, probably Jim Carrey would be pretty amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Thank you, April.
I love Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Jim Carrey, we did a 50th birthday surprise for my husband, and we actually did, it was a Jim Carrey Ace Ventura theme, and we actually built a costume where my son, he literally came out of the rhino's butt. Wait, it's a rhino, everybody!
Oh, the rhino is giving birth.
He's here! He's here! No, he's giving birth!
Oh my God! Bruce, you got a question for Jack?
I do, but just a quick comment. Jack, I adore your videos. I subscribe on YouTube, and you certainly have a lot of imitators, and I think they follow in your footsteps. My personal favorite, How to Escape from a Police Car, is the best gosh dang video ever. But yeah, I'm in IT, so I do have to ask a bit of a technical question. Do you have a preference for platform?
Right now, I think that YouTube and Facebook are both pretty equal. They're very different because on Facebook, you can kind of recycle videos and post things that you've posted 10 or 15 times before. Whereas YouTube is kind of like you post the video and then you leave it and that's it. You move on to another video. But YouTube and Facebook combined have always kind of been my go-to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like hearing you say that because I feel like when I tell people I'm posting on Facebook, they're like, "Oh, you're so old."
Yeah, only about half the world actually still uses Facebook.
I wanted to ask about Nash Mash because this is something new.
Nash Mash is something I've wanted to do for a long time. We moved out to Nashville about 5 years ago. And, I've been to a lot of these like influencer and creator conventions like VidCon and Playlist Live and these things that go on where you can go and you can meet your favorite star. But they're kind of like, in a way, free-for-alls for anybody who wants to do anything. And I kind of wanted to narrow it down a little bit more and make it a real fun family event where your favorite family-friendly creators are there to, you can meet them, meet and greets, your favorite pranksters, your favorite vloggers, your favorite families. So we're expecting, roughly 8,000 people to come and buy tickets and get to meet their favorite social media stars, and not just social media stars, but other stars as well who are more known from like TV shows and stuff like that. It's on the website right now, nashmash.live, and you can check that out. But I'll be there obviously. I have some of my prankster buddies like Tom Mabe, there, and Trilogy Media, which these are guys who go after the scammers, the people who are calling, and those guys are amazing. And they're good friends of mine, and they'll be there. And so we have a lot of people. Lee Allen Baker from Good Luck Charlie's coming. Lee Allen Baker, yeah, I'm telling you, it's going to be really, really fun.
Someone just walked in here. Jack, this is my son, Bob. You had a question for Mr. Jack, right?
How do you grow a good YouTube channel?
The number one thing that you really want to do is not get discouraged, because it's gonna take a while. My daughter Jasmine started building a YouTube channel, and she started making shorts, because that's what's popular now on YouTube, shorts. So she went from 0 subscribers to 700 or 800 now in a pretty short amount of time. But she had to be willing to consistently make videos, even though she only had 10 or 15 or 20 people watching. So you got to keep going, and it's all about the content. And don't worry about ideas for what to do. As soon as you get an idea, just do it.
Do you want to give your page a plug while you're here?
Subscribe. 37. Also, tell my mom to get me off a electronic detox.
What was that last thing he said?
He said, and tell my mom to get me off my electronic detox. Yeah, he's.
Oh, wow. Here's the other thing too. You and I are busier today than our parents were, than we were 20 years ago. I mean, people are more busy today than they've ever been in their lives. And so that means moms and dads are more busy. So it's a little bit harder now to keep track of what your kids are doing. When I was a kid, to get into mischief, to really do something that you weren't supposed to be doing, you had to work at it. Now, everybody has these screens available to them at all times. It's really kind of a crazy thing, isn't it? But I think it's really important to do what you're doing. I think that's a great idea, this little detox thing. Somebody told me the other day, I couldn't get a hold of him all day long, and I couldn't understand, because I could always reach him right away. And the whole day went by, and I'm like, this guy's not getting back to me. I don't know what's going on. And I was starting to get really frustrated. Finally, at the end of the night, he said he said, I'm so sorry. I was taking my weekly cleanse from, electronics, whatever he called it. There was a name for it. I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing. What an incredible thing. Could you imagine? I'm thinking, put your phone away for the whole day and just don't even go near it.
But I support a detox. I actually, and it took a while for me to do this, but I started sleeping with my phone in another room, because I was like, this cannot be the first thing that I look at when I wake up. I don't want to be interrupted at night, because then your mind goes a million different places, between all the notifications and then all the things that you remember you need to do. I always do April Fool's pranks on the kids. I mean, it's always been something that we do. We like to prank each other quite a bit, but I'm running out of ideas. So I didn't know if you had any that you wanted to share that would be easy.
You know what's funny about April Fools? I miss April Fools every year. The prank guy, the OG prank guy that started doing pranks in 2007. I miss it every single year. So I never come up with a good April Fool's prank, because it's always like spontaneity. It's on the spur of the moment. I'm out in public and I just decide to do something, real quick, because I get the idea to do it. But the stuff that I do is more, comedic. It's not really the shock factor. I have a bunch of masks though, and special effects Hollywood style masks, and you should get a ghillie suit easily.
I did that.
And you did that?
Mom, I know that's you. I see you!
Oh my! Get it!
Oh my God! Oh my God! Prank gone wrong! You ruined it! Ow!
Yuna!
Oh my gosh!
I didn't even tell you. I didn't even notice it.
did he know? So tell me what's coming up next for you, because I know that in addition to doing your pranks, you have films that you're doing. Now, are these more like shorts?
So, you know, it's amazing that YouTube has been this platform where you could showcase something that you do, and then you start building connections from that. You start meeting people, and next thing you know, you're doing all kinds of different things. So a lot of these vloggers might start, you know, a fashion line or a makeup line or whatever. And one of the things that I've been blessed really to be able to do is to start producing films, which has been a lifelong dream of mine, feature films. So in particularly faith-based films and family films. And, you know, it's been incredible. I'll tell you a funny story. You never know when you're on YouTube who you're reaching and whose home you might be in. And a few years ago, there was a movie premiere that I was at, and somebody walked up to me, and I could not believe it was Peter Farrelly, who created the Farrelly brothers did Dumb and Dumber and Shallow Hal and the greatest comedies ever, you know. And he looks at me in front of his kids, and he's like, "Jack Vale," you know, and I'm like, I was stunned. This guy was like such an icon, you know. And next thing you know, we were developing a TV show, and it got sold to Fox, and all of this stuff started happening, and it was so bizarre. And ever since then, and that was like 2015. Wow, long time ago. But you know, it's just through that, so many other doors have opened, and it's been really exciting. So yeah, I'm producing a film right now called A New Normal, which is probably something that people won't expect from me, but it's a drama, faith-based drama about it's a true story about a doctor who gets in a car accident and suffers a TBI, traumatic brain injury. And it's an incredibly inspiring story. And then there's a very, very funny film coming after that one. So.
That's great. I mean, you have your fingers in all of it. I do want to ask, as a father who has done this for so many years, even though you're out just doing videos and that stuff, I know that it takes so much time. Did you ever struggle with feeling like you were putting work before your family? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, I gotcha. I have. When we did our TV show, I felt really blessed to get to do that because it wasn't one of these fake reality shows where everything was staged. It was pretty much, we had a schedule, but other than that, we just got to hang with the family all day. You know, so it was really kind of a nice break for me because I got to get away from my home office and just film a TV show with my kids, and it was great. So I've definitely been caught myself being guilty, spending too much time, you know, at work, because there's a lot to it, and sometimes, like you're doing right now, sometimes it's a one-man or a one-woman show, you know, and you have to do it yourself.
What's the best advice you ever got?
Best advice I ever got. Be who you are. And I think that the reason that's so important is because today everybody's trying to be somebody else. Because we have immediate access to all of these personalities and we want to be like them. So I would say no matter what, people really are going to like you for who you are.
Is it all in one place where we get all the skinny on Jack Vale?
I always just tell people, because it's easy to do this, Google Jack Vale. But I'm on everything. My favorite platforms to communicate to me with is probably Twitter, because I don't get as much activity there. I like all of that stuff. I'm having a great time with the Jack Vale Show with Madison. It's such a fun podcast that I get to do with my daughter. And, you know, I love anything that's entertainment, as long as I can somehow, if I could put a smile on somebody's face or inspire them in some way or make them laugh, or I'm just going to keep doing this.
Jack Vale, such a pleasure having you join us today. Thank you so much, and good luck with everything.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to my mom's show. Don't forget to subscribe.